This is a young monk on his way with his begging bowl to U San Yun's house. He comes like this every morning, barefooted and wearing his yellow robes closely round him. U San Yun and his wife always look forward to his coming. They told me that in their eyes he wasn't begging at all. He was conferring a privilege on them. By helping a monk, they could prove their faith and deepen their spiritual life. The monk is taught in the monastery how to accept charity with dignity and without losing self-respect. From beginning to end, they mayn't say a word to each other. All over Burma, scores of thousands of monks take round begging bowls just like this. They're treated with reverence wherever they go. They belong to the oldest religious order in the world, founded by Buddha 2,500 years ago. In the mornings and evenings in their home, U San Yun and his wife spend a short time in meditation. Meditation plays a great part in Buddhism, and I asked U San Yun to tell me about it.
A good Buddhist devotes himself to meditation for an hour or two in his home, usually at night or at early dawn. When he is so absorbed in his meditation, he is detached from worldly matters. Even as a sleeping man is detached from worldly cares. The sleeping man, when he wakes up, is a new man. He can devote himself to his daily duties with renewed vigor. In the case of a man who has practiced meditation, it is even more than that. He has rested himself from the worldly cares. He has raised his mental plane to a higher stage of purity. And he has developed his power of concentration. So, when he applies himself to his daily work during the working hours, he does so with greater zeal, greater concentration, and with a broader outlook, working for the good of all, and not merely for selfish ends.
May I ask you,
there's one thing I should like to add, and it is absolute detachment comes only at the last stage of perfection. We call it arhat.
I see.
He has broken through the bonds of cosmic existence. He no longer belongs to the world or to the universe.
May I ask, U San Yun, how did you start? I mean, was there some particular event or experience that started you up on your religious life?
Well, in Buddhism, there is no such thing as a sudden revelation for a turning point. Understanding and appreciation ripens with experience and wisdom.
Are there times now when your faith seems to fail you?
Well, for a common man called Putuzana, that is the worldling, it is natural for doubts to arise in him from time to time. But once a person is well established in Buddhism and has reached the first stage of purification called Sotapanna, he has discarded all doubts and heresy.
I see. You believe in a life after death, of course, U San Yun.
Oh yes, we do.
And in karma, would you
Yes.
describe that a bit for us?
Well, Karma is the universal law of action and reaction, cause and effect, by which we can determine our future by our own deeds. It is the practical and scientific explanation of the truth of what ye sow, so shall ye reap. These words are uttered by Buddha himself 500 years before Christ.
U San Yun's house is within sight of the most famous pagoda in the world, the Shwedagon Pagoda. Buddhists told me that for them, its tapering golden spire symbolized the aspiration of man's spirit. The pagoda is the center of Burma's religious and national life, and thousands of people come here every day, though not all by car, like U San Yun and his wife and daughter. They come about once a week. Before they go into the pagoda, they'll take their shoes off as a mark of respect. Their purpose in coming, they told me, was to strengthen their inner life, reminding themselves of their faith by paying homage to Buddha and expressing their gratitude for his teaching. On the way in, at these stalls at the entrance, they buy flowers, which are their symbols of purity, to place before one of the statues of Buddha. U San Yun buys a traditional paper umbrella. This symbolizes helping your neighbor by giving him shade, a pledge that U San Yun will try to repay his debt to Buddha by unselfishness to others. What you can hear now is the chanting of the teachings of Buddha from the pagoda. As U San Yun explained it, Buddhism is a simple faith. No revelations, no dreams, no supernatural events, no gods. All these shrines and statues seem to me to belie this. But U San Yun said, don't think, when you see us bowing before Buddha's image, that we worship him as a god, as you worship Jesus Christ in the West. We think of Buddha as a man, a teacher who can show us the way to peace of mind. He said they didn't ask for things in their prayers, and they didn't expect help from Buddha except through his teachings. They didn't even try to copy Buddha's life, as in their view, no one life could be a pattern for all. Everywhere there are ornaments, statues, flowers, jewels, the accumulated gifts of devout Buddhists for centuries past. And over all towers the fabulous golden-leafed spire of the pagoda. Besides the pagoda, U San Yun also often visits this monastery. For a short time, like most Burmese, he was a monk himself. He comes here now for meditation and to hear a famous religious figure, the Mahasi Sayadaw, preaching. On this occasion, the Mahasi Sayadaw gave part of a course on meditation. He paid his respects to a statue of Buddha behind the glass and sat down with the audience below him. He didn't discuss the purpose of meditation, but simply its technique, how we can make our minds aware of our bodies so as to dominate them. The translation is, when you begin to meditate, concentrate your mind on your physical movements. If you stretch or bend your arm or knee, realize you are doing so. If you're holding your robe or begging bowl, know that that is what you're doing. Next to U San Yun here is the president of the Buddha Sasana Council, the highest religious body in Burma. The Sayadaw continues, when you're eating, realize that you are eating. In this way you cultivate awareness of yourself which is the way to detachment and self-control. At the end of his address, the audience bowed to him, in homage to the order of monkhood he represents. And they say together, "So be it, so be it." Monks aren't the only teachers of meditation in Burma. With U San Yun here is a layman, a former cabinet minister, U Ba Khin, who acts as spiritual director, or guru, of this modern meditation center. In thousands of lay meditation centers like this, Burmese Buddhists cultivate self-mastery as the key to a deeper spiritual life. U Ba Khin's most proficient pupil is Mr. Venkataraman here. He's preparing to go into a trance known as the trance of cessation. He pays his respects to his guru and sits down and begins to concentrate. He's watched by his guru, and nearby, U San Yun, another pupil, begins meditation. In less than a minute, Mr. Venkataraman is in a deep trance. When he is like this, nothing can wake him up except the voice of his guru.
Venkataraman.
Some older monks I met had some reservations about the methods of this center, but no one doubts Mr. Venkataraman's remarkable powers of concentration. Afterwards, he explained to me the experience he had had, and summed it up as follows.
As soon as I rose up, I found my body very light, and also, at the same time, my mind was crystal clear.
I see.
It gave me a mental happiness, peace and happiness, which words could not describe. At any rate, it was immensely pleasing to me.
Do your experiences vary at all? I mean, is it the same every time?
Well, of course, you see, it is the same. But the images, when I go in the slow motion, the pictures, what I see, the vision might vary. But otherwise, it's all the same.
And you value these experiences very highly?
Surely, because it gives me mental peace and happiness.